So, good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in the world. Talent Finders would like to welcome Elite Matchmaker, founder, and connector, Sacha Jack. So, welcome, Sacha.
Thank you so much. It's lovely to be here.
So, Sacha, I'd like to congratulate
Yes.
you on all your achievements. So, can you share how your entrepreneurial journey started?
Sure. It didn't actually start that easily, to be honest,
Yes,
because I'd come across this matchmaking once many years ago, and I thought, what an interesting career. Never
yes,
really thought about it again. And then I was like, I kept wanting to do this and wanting to do this. I had this feeling I'm connecting people, but people, in love, but I wanted to connect people in love. And I thought,
yes,
this sounds like a great idea, but then I was procrastinating because I thought, sure, how do I even start this?
yeah,
Quite scary and daunting when you're starting a business when, let's just say, 45 plus plus.
yes,
They say never admit the real age, but when you're 45 plus plus and you're trying to start a business, it can be very daunting. No,
yes.
I'm kidding. I don't actually care. I'm 50. So yeah, I mean, to start a
Yeah, but
business
it's
at this
still
age,
it's still that
I know.
anxiety of
Yeah,
like how am I going to do this and make
do
it work
this.
and make a living?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's exactly it. And then then something else happened where my poor mom was on the apps in her 70s, bless her. She just felt so lonely and didn't know where to go. And then, she got Tinder swindled, literally.
Oh no.
So, yeah, so
Oh
that was
God.
the first time I thought, this actually, there's got to be a better way. I've got to do something about this.
Yes.
And when the student is ready, the teacher appears. So I thought, right, if I want to do this, I want to do this properly. I need to find out how to start. Do I study it? Can I study it? Then I found this place in New York and yeah, did studied through them. And then when I completed, then they said, yeah, that I was the first one in South Africa to have completed. So that was actually quite amazing because I thought it's so needed here. It's very big in Europe and the States and everywhere. And
Yes, of
London, I
course.
mean, and yeah, it's huge. And I just thought, South Africa, we need to
Step
connect
it
people
up.
here too. Yeah.
Amazing. So, as South Africa's only elite matchmaker, can you please share with us what was the inspiration and motivation for starting Elite
Yeah.
Matchmaker and what makes you different? Because I think that's also a key element because there's a lot
Yes.
of apps, and I think a lot of people are very well, certainly a lot of people I know are very
Yeah.
despondent and just feel like we couldn't be asked to be
Yeah.
any of
I
those
know.
things because it
And
just
it's,
doesn't
yeah.
seem like it just seems
Yeah.
like more of a hookup culture than anything else. I don't know,
Exactly.
but never used
Yeah,
it,
no.
so I wouldn't know. But
Yeah, listen, I've interviewed so many people, a few hundred. You must hear the stories I hear of from their experiences on the apps. Yeah,
Mm.
this was definitely needed. That was the inspiration. Was firstly with the trigger from my mum, and
Yes,
then I thought when I finished studying, and then I looked at it and I thought there's just got to be a better way nowadays. I mean, listen, it's been going for the hundreds of years. There's a certain cultures of people that have been doing it for hundreds of years, but it needed to be brought back.
yes,
Honestly, it really did because everybody, like you said, the apps definitely had its place. I think when they started, unbelievable,
mm.
of course, but then everything happens. Like the scamsters come in. It really, this is what's been happening. I mean, people like what happened to my mom. And feels exhaustion and also creates. And people said, "What can you really tell from a picture?" I mean, I'm being honest. I actually say, "What can you tell from a frozen
Yeah,
human?"
100%. People
Because
can say anything behind this is the
yeah,
same thing. People can say anything behind a
yeah,
screen, but they would never say that in to your face, basically.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So there, and with technology, all amazing, and but it's algorithms, and it's not that human connection's been lost a little bit. So I
Yeah.
think this is going back to the good old fashioned way of like, let's introduce these two people that we think suit each other or should meet, like our parents used to do, and our,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
dinner parties and things like this.
Yo,
People do
you'd
this, and
meet
they
people at
always
weddings or funerals
exactly.
or
Yeah,
birthdays or whatever, you know.
yeah.
Mm.
Exactly. And it's just sadly not happening anymore. People are so into the technology. Like I say, you got a coffee shop, everybody's on the headphones. You got a gym, everybody's on the headphones or at
Mm.
the phones. So it's very hard to actually approach people. And,
Yeah, but I
this,
think I think now more than ever, based on what you're saying, I think now
yeah,
more than ever that there is a seriously deep craving for human
mm,
connection because obviously
absolutely.
during the pandemic, as I call it, um,
Yeah, yeah,
people lost connection, and no matter what, no matter how much AI, no matter how much technology, you can never, ever, ever replace the human element. Never.
no, you can't.
No,
You can't.
not from a technological standpoint.
No, absolutely. And that's why I think it's even more needed, because also the fact that you are introducing to people, the girls feel safer that I've actually filtered this, and the men feel safe also because it can work both ways. So you can have narcissistic men, narcissistic women. You can have,
Oh yeah,
golden. Yeah.
and that's an interesting point because I think so
Mm.
often people just blame. I mean, I don't know what your opinion is on this because
Yes.
I feel like the feminist movement has really destroyed men's confidence because it's
Mm.
like, yes, women can do certain things and
Yes.
men can do certain things, and we have to really respect both strengths and weaknesses of
Yeah.
both. And at
Mm.
the end of the day, fundamentally, you have to work with men and men have to work with women.
Mm.
And I just feel like I feel it's quite sad because a lot of men feel totally emasculated.
That's true. Yeah.
And I think that also plays a fundamental role because they're like,
It,
well, how do you even go up and approach somebody, not because you want, to sleep with them, but because you actually
mm.
want to just have a drink or go
Connection.
and have a
Yeah.
meal. And I
Yeah.
think that really needs to be brought back. And, women also need to just calm down.
Well, Kira, it's an interesting point. So thank you for bringing it up, actually, because that's why my business model is so different. And
Yes.
this is why I felt intuitively I wanted to do my business model slightly differently.
Yes.
In that men are my clients, not women. And the women say, why don't you take this on? I said, because I'm telling you now for many reasons. I'm actually taking the women's side because I am going to seek the good men. So
Yes.
I'm going into LinkedIn, I'm finding the men. And I always say these women, and they say, oh, there's no good men. I said, stop saying that because you're putting those words out there and you're manifesting that.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
no, I mean, they are very good men. They're a bit scared. They've been burnt. But like women intuitively will come and think, okay, now I need to put myself, where am I going to go? I want to meet my man. Men, when they get burnt, sometimes they just actually hide. They,
Yeah.
they, they
Well,
marry
because
their
they don't know
job,
what to
their
do.
careers. They don't know what to do. They're so scared to approach women or whatever. Like you say, that's the problem.
Mm.
So, I sort of nudge them. I like to say that word. I sort of encourage them and nudge them and say that this is the safe place. And they're like, what's this matchmaking? And they've never heard of it. Then they hear about it and they're like, wow, that's actually amazing.
Yeah.
Because they know that I'm filtering everybody. And it's a very, like I use the word safe. It's safe for both parties. I
Yes.
really do. I carry them through. Also because, a woman must just pay to belong to the members club and for my time to interview them. The men pay the higher price point because I feel that when men are relationship ready, no man is going to pay unless he knows that he really wants to find his girl. He would
Yes.
stay out there in the wild. I always say to go and ring it in the wild. He would ring it in the wild and he would try to see if he could meet somebody, like that. But the men that come to me are really, Sacha, I want to meet my person. So that's at least taken away that now I know they are ready, which
Yes.
is wonderful. Now they're ready to commit to my goals.
So
No.
just to I just want to ask, so
Yes.
obviously there are many dating apps as we mentioned, or
Yes.
platforms. So what would you say makes your process or what separates you or makes you different? Like,
Yes.
so if someone comes to you, is that through an application or is that through people they
Yes.
know? Like, how does your process work and what
At the moment, it is word of mouth because I've done matches, especially with the men. So they're like, okay, well, you must go to Sacha. This is the only way to do it. And
Yes.
word and social media obviously gets it out there, which is great.
Yes.
But the thing is, I interview both parties very in depth. So
Yes.
that's the thing. An app's not going to do that. You're just going to put your
No.
information on. How do I know that that's true? I want to see for myself.
Yeah.
And I consider myself an intuitive, and I think that that's why I've said no to some girls, and I've said
Yes.
no to men.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had men join me on the top package, and after they, sign on, and then I just say, no, I don't think it's a good match. And like I say, your matchmaker is your first match.
Yes.
And then I have to kindly say, you know what? If you're going to be like that with me, imagine how you're going to treat my goals. So I'm going to protect my goals, and I'm not going to take your money because I feel like there have to be people that I connect with. Because if I connect with you, then I can match you.
Yes.
But I can't connect with everybody. You're never going to be everybody's favorite. You're never going to be
No,
relate to
and
everybody. Yeah.
that's the thing is just because somebody's got the money doesn't mean necessarily
Exactly.
that they're the right fit even for your
100%.
service. Yeah. So
100%. That's why I say it's just because you got money doesn't make you a nice car. I've got to see
no.
if you're a nice car.
So
I've got to trust you out.
yeah, so obviously we've spoken a little bit about this growing level of despondency regarding dating apps or these types of services. So how have you found or how do you think it's changed, or do you feel that people are looking for human connection? And what, especially as a leap matchmaker, would you say has changed the most? And or what, if any, are newer, more effective ways to work with clients, especially as executives or higher caliber clients? And can you give
Yes.
us any examples of successful matchmaking that you've done?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, and it sounds weird when people say the high caliber and just successful. And it's not that it's just about men
No,
with
of
money.
course not.
Not
But
that.
but it is harder
Yeah,
for those types of people too, because they're
it
also
really
working a
is.
lot, and it's like, how do you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
So
this is the problem. They cannot be seen on apps
no.
because they are CEOs of companies or such. I mean, and then they get like what happened to one of my clients and got passed screenshot and passed around the office, and everyone was laughing at him because he's the CEO of the company.
Oh no.
That's the
Yeah.
thing.
No,
You
that's
can't just
nasty.
yeah, you see. So it's really that's the lovely thing that the men love is this discretion
Yes.
because nobody knows you're on my books. Yes, there's a CRM system that's been developed in the States that I use that not the men fill out, I fill it out for my clients, but the ladies fill it out. And
Yes.
then let's say now it's getting more busier and busier. I obviously use my intuition to match, go through my clients forever, go through all the girls. I do it the old fashioned way too, like print everything, put it all things, who am I going to match them with? But now it's getting busier and busier. And so there has to be a CRM system that'll say these two are 97% match, whatever.
Mm.
If I missed something, then I'll go back, look at their profiles, read about them. So it's really a lot of effort and work that goes into this and the matching.
Yes.
So yeah, I think that's what makes it so different is the human element I'm giving to the process as well.
Yes. And you're
And
actually
really,
doing the work, which
yeah, and doing the work,
yeah.
to find them, not just based on what some people say in their profiles.
Yeah.
So it really is the safest way, I think. And in this day and age, it feels like a very authentic way for people to meet.
Yes.
A-
And it's
a- and
more
Kevin,
authentic and organic, I think, in
yes,
that regard. Yeah.
yes. And Karen, what I also love about the process is people come in, not a lot of men, but you're obviously going to have some people that have like they're ordering off a menu. And I'm like, listen here, how did that work for you so far? Exactly. Let me do the matching. You've come to me for a reason. I don't want to waste your money or my time. So we're here to find a person. And,
Yes.
so they know that they have to be relationship ready. And I kind of coach them through it a bit in terms of what they're looking for. I said, just meet this goal. Yes, it might not be everything that you had told me you definitely want on this tick box, but just meet her and you will see. So I also hope from both sides encourage them to just meet each other, whereas before they probably wouldn't even look at each other or no, or like, they would say it's not the kind of person I normally go for. That's my worst because I'm like, oh, how's that also worked out for you normally go for?
But
Because it works.
exactly. But also, I think sometimes it's like, I find this interesting just in terms of what you're saying, because sometimes it's the person that you least expect. Like, or
Exactly.
like you might have this idea or romantic idea in your head, but then you actually meet somebody polar
Mm,
opposite to what you thought, and it actually works out
mm.
better.
Well, exactly. I mean, I actually had a couple on a date last night that happened, and she messaged me. She's like, "I must be honest, normally I like tall, dark, handsome, and he wasn't like that, But wow!" And then he just said, also, he has normally not fallen for somebody exactly like that, but he said they had the best date. They
That's
really could be.
amazing.
You see, and it's those kind of things that I'm just like, what can you tell from a frozen human? So when I write the profiles, I came up as like because it is a frozen picture. I mean, what
Yes.
seriously? What that's just so. Yeah, is that when I send the profiles to them, I always say you have to read the bio first. I'm
Yes.
not going to show you a picture
No.
until you see the bio. I want you to read and know how wonderful this lady is, and then I will send you a picture if you insist. Some men don't insist; they just trust me and they say, "Fine, I'll meet her. She sounds amazing. I don't need to see a picture." How
Amazing.
wonderful! And
So,
I love that.
what would you say some of your biggest lessons have been within your career, or maybe you've had multiple, but what really stands out for you?
Yeah, I think it's that ability to filter, in the beginning of any business, you're always like, okay, I need to get this going. I need to, but what I've learned is those boundaries and how to filter the people. Like I said, it was not many people would have not taken this client on because he was paying a lot of money and people, when you're starting a business, you think, eek, the business has got to make money. But I thought, I'll probably end up in a court case with this guy, which will cost me the same as that. So I think that was my biggest lesson. I'll end up spending all their money because he's just that kind of person. Shane, I
Yeah,
really
just
wish you
just
had sent
blatantly
him
difficult.
blatantly difficult. Well wishes and his healing journey to get better. I've got nothing against anybody. Everybody's at different stages in the healing. It's just he wasn't ready to join me.
No.
You know, and I wish him all the best, and hopefully one day he will be, but he's just not ready to join me.
Yes.
And so I think that was the biggest lesson is really learning to say no, which is very hard. But you say no, it's not a good match. And sorry, Angel, if there's a lovely little girl, I say sorry. You know, you're coming from a relationship into this, you're not ready. Or she's needy and she's like, where's my date? I said, no, we're not a dating agency, darling. This is a matchmaking. So yeah, I'm dealing with all of these different things. I think those are the challenges, but I'm just leading from my heart, honestly, Karen, as I go along. I have to.
That's amazing.
Because I have to. I think that's what's made it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So what would you say to those who have given up or just gotten to a point of being despondent regarding finding a partner, as apps and the dating world in general for so many are just saying it's just not worth the time or effort? So what advice to those who are opting to be single, and how is this impacting in this space for both men and women? Or how do you see the shifting? And then what would you, sorry, I just wanted to, so what would you see
We'll go back
the overarching theme is, and how do you see that changing or evolving?
Yeah. So I think that's, you know, it's to not lose hope. It's also the awareness that it's not your fault, that these apps have actually made people think that it's like an instant gratification or instantly, I've got a chance of getting that or this. And, you know, it's delusional. A lot of it is not really. So I think that's what's made people give up, and there is app exhaustion. So it's just that, you know, absolutely just take a break from all of that. Just really go back to the good of actually, like, you know, you got to want to date yourself. Am I ready? Am I actually the person I want to date?
That is actually the question, because also I think there's the reverse where people become so dependent on being in a relationship. And I've always said, if you can't learn to live and be by yourself, then how can you be with somebody else?
Absolutely.
I don't know, maybe that's...
No, you hit the nail on the head. You have to, because if you're not single, you'll never work out what sort of mistakes or errors that you made before. And it's not just that. It's not that you made a necessary mistake or error. It's that maybe you just needed your boundaries up because you're too trusting. So say your kind, wonderful self, but just make sure that when your intuition's like something's wrong, something is probably wrong. But be more aware of the red flags, and just also to go slow. I think people dive in and they just want everything to happen so instantly. Wow, I'm so excited. But everything can be exciting and powerful for 3 months. But what's the reality after that?
Yeah, exactly. It's like when people want to get married and then it's all exciting. But when the gifts stop coming and the doors close in real life, then that's where you really know.
Yeah, absolutely. So my advice is, yes, definitely stay single. Work on yourself, the best version. You must be so happy where you're like, it's a case of always say not wanting and needing a man, but wanting a man. A lovely add-on. You want that companionship. You want your life to be filled with, you know, to share it with somebody. But you're not desperate for like, I need a man. I've got to have a man. You know, it might not like that. You must be like, wow, my life, I'm actually quite proud of myself. How far I've come. I'm in a good space. Now your energy is vibrating at a higher frequency. Now you bring in your man can come through me.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. Now, I always talk about the frequency. I said it's not words, actually science. It just is. It is.
Yes.
We vibrate at certain levels when we're in, you know, and when you're not feeling 100% about yourself and you're still insecure and you're still working into things, unfortunately, you also might pick up men who are insecure and working into things. The broken sometimes find the broken. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, not our lessons. It's not to judge yourself on it. It's learning curves.
Yes, exactly. So what would you say some of your biggest career highlights have been? And maybe you've had many, but is there one in particular that stands out for you?
Actually, one of my very first matches was exactly that. So I was quite new at this. I thought they're not going to like it if I said don't see a photo. But I said don't see a photo. I don't know why. I just was winging it. And I just thought, let's see if they both respond. And they did. So I kind of told them what they must, you know, what she was wearing. And it was actually very sweet. And he said, I said, turquoise top. And he was like, what on earth is turquoise? What color is turquoise? I mean, you've got to love men sometimes. Just blue is blue, you know, like that's how they see it.
Yeah.
But, you know,
never mind the alternative shades.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was actually wonderful because they, even after the first date, they weren't 100% because they were quite different. One engineer, one creative. And it's just lovely. And they carried on and they dated again and they dated again and they did the slow burn, which is how it is meant to be. I'm saying everybody ghosts after the first date. And these poor people on the apps are left thinking, what did I say wrong? It felt like an amazing date. And they don't realize it's because nobody's getting feedback. So that's what's nice about a matchmaker. I give feedback after the first date to both. I say, don't swap numbers. Let me do let me give constructive feedback and see. And then I encourage to date again. Because everybody's nervous on the first date, and you just don't know. They get such strange things in their heads, like, oh, I don't like this about her, and or whatever. We're on the dating apps, and they're giving up, and they're ghosting, and they're looking for a list. Tick. Did he tick this?
Yeah,
Did he tick
no.
this? It's like, and they wonder why it's not working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So regarding the clients you work with, is there a specific onboarding process for your clients, and what criteria or process to join Elite Matchmaker? And who and what are the types of clients you are specifically looking to work with?
Do you know, it's so interesting. I work with any kind of clients. I've got different packages that suit different needs. And, also I work with my clients. If they are starting off a business, like saying a restaurant, and they don't have a lot of money to do it, I do allow them. If they are young, I don't want to take away all the money when they're young, but they're trying to find like a wife and children. I mean, it's such an honor to come to a matchmaker and think that, this could be a family I could start. I'm not going to turn somebody down. So I say to them, there's ability to pay off over 2 months, but then I'll only start your matches when you finish paying off. So I've got from that to the very highest of high level. I mean, people are in industries and just cannot be seen to be on any, because of the discretion of it.
Of course.
They can't be seen. So it's quite an eclectic group. And I just say, like, I've got unusual ones, I've got quirky ones, I've got very sort of, business brain ones, I've got all sorts, and arty ones. It's wonderful that when I interview them, sorry, to answer your question about the onboarding process. So the men I actually interview before I take them on. So I do a full big with them, that I chat with them first, and they can choose this package that they're thinking of. Then I can talk them through the packages, how they all work. And then, because the women pay for my time and to interview them to belong to the membership. So it's slightly different in that onboarding process. And so the men I do filter first, not for any, I want to use my intuition with the men. And also because the woman, I also protect my girls. Like, I want my girls to know that I've got good men on my books.
Yeah, of course.
That I filtered them. So that's a bit of the onboarding process. And there's no pressure. I'm not just good, like the best salesperson. I always say, if you feel like you need to come to a matchmaker and you feel it's working for you and this is how it is, then this is how it is. Great.
Well, so you don't want to have to convince people. They're either in or they're out. Like, it's not
100%. I'm like, no. You're either feeling it or you're not. So
exactly. So what you offer seems to be so much more than what most typically are used to. So can you share with us what Elite Matchmaker is unique and different, and why and how have you managed to sustain such a successful business, and why have you had such a positive outcome with your clients?
I think because there is such a need and a calling for this, and people, you are your business. I mean, people, I always say, this is me. This is what you see is what you get. Like, I think, and very kind of people have said, oh, Sacha, you're so authentic. So I think it's also attracting other authentic people. It's a different, and I think that's what's made it successful. I also think the fact that I was fortunate enough to go to London and to go to the International Matchmakers Conference and to collaborate. That's what I love about this industry. It's not everyone's in competition. We collaborate.
No, it's collaborative.
And so, if I've got someone from London to South Africa, or he wants to date a South African again, whatever. That's so it's nice that I've got that exposure. So I can collaborate with my international group of incredible matchmakers. So it gives it a huge international, borders it internationally as well.
Yes.
So so I think that's what makes it a little bit different. Is my collaboration with, and these women have been doing in this industry for like 30 years. Unbelievable matchmakers. I'm
amazing.
Inspired to be like them. But so we'll get there. Baby steps.
So why do you think so many people are so challenged when it comes to finding a partner? Many years ago, people used to meet, which we did speak about earlier, but meet at social gatherings, and it now seems to be so much more challenging. So can you share with us why this shift occurred and how Elite Matchmaker has bridged the gap, and how you've solved this problem.
To be honest, it's quite. I mean, I definitely think the hugest factor was technology. It just isolated people more.
Yes.
And I think that was, I think, the initial thing. And like you also said, and it's a touchy subject. People get very upset about it, but the masculine and feminine, it really is. Women had to rise up and start careers, but they also got into their masculine, which wasn't necessarily a bad thing because they had to perform like that. They had to direct and lead and be in that masculine. So, but now it's for the women to be successful still, absolutely, but still be in your feminine. And I say this to the men. I said, you men, you must understand times have changed. There are a lot of successful women. And I actually asked her one of the questions, are you scared of a successful woman? Because a lot of women are successful and coming up. And I said, as long as they are not very much in their masculine. And this is what a lot of the matchmakers in the state that you do here. When women join as members, then they're very much like, as clients, then they want to be like, where's my man? Where's my date? I've paid this. I'm demanding. And they can be
God.
Oh, no. So I can't deal with all of that.
It's like when people pay beer money, but they want Veuve Clicquot. It's just ridiculous.
No. True story. Absolutely. So I think that's what's changed a lot. And that's why, I don't know, let's see. We roll with it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just trying to shine light on a place I think it's becoming dark, like in terms of the ability to connect. I'm just trying to do my part in this lifetime.
Yes. So what is your dream and goal vision for Elite Matchmaker ultimately? And what are the 3 key pieces of advice you would give to entrepreneurs or those trying to start a business or pursue a similar career?
I think my goal is just to honestly match as many people as I can. And like I say, what an honor to be able to bring people together and they're starting families.
Yeah.
I've got from the oldest people to the youngest because, I've got people that, and I recruit for my clients. Like a lady said to me, I saw in your, you obviously only just doing youngsters because you were asking and putting it out there for the younger. I said, no, the reason I'm doing that is because I don't have a lot of youngsters and these clients, these men are young and I'm looking for the girl. So I'm recruiting for him. But I said, most of them join me when they're older because I think also the second time around after divorce, you find that. But I've got both sides, and I don't limit it.
Yes.
So a lot of matchmakers will say, no, only up to 50 do we match. And I'm like, no, I will match. I've got from 22 until 75 at the moment. So I'm completely leave that open. So I think that's how I see it going forward, is that it's also the loneliness in the older generation that I'm really trying to see if I can help, curb that and make people feel not so alone. And then I think, what was it? Oh, the 3 pieces of advice. Just to start, I was a huge procrastinator, I'm a little bit ADD or ADS.
Welcome to the club.
To find it out. I said I'll just go with the punches. That's why. So I think the first thing is to start, because I was procrastinating, putting it off, thinking, can I do this? So my inspiration is to say to people just to start. That, like I said, my mom said,
there's never a right time. That's the thing.
Right,
people think, oh, it's, I have to wait till I get to this. It's the same in my world of PR. It's like there's no such thing as a right time. Like, just
start. And also to not feel overwhelmed. So don't think of it this huge business I've got to start. No, you just break it down. Okay, let me start with the small things. What am I good at? Okay, I love connecting people. How can I connect more people? Where can I go to find people to bring them on board? Like just increments when you're starting a business, and then the energy of that, just it's like a ripple effect. But it's that courage really to start and believe in yourself. If you're going to fail, there's going to be mess ups, there's going to be stuff up, but just to start, I think that's the best thing to do. And to also not be hard on yourself when you do have failures and when you do mess up, because you're human. And don't give up. I think a lot of people give up when they've messed up, or they just don't have the confidence. They think, oh no, am I really made for this? And then they go down a spiral of questioning what's going wrong, like the glass is half empty. No, you need to say, bounce back, glasses are full. This is what I'm born to do. Just carry on.
Yes, exactly. So that leads me to the last question. So what legacy would you like to leave, or how would you like to be remembered?
Sure, I'd love to be remembered for many, many matches and marriages and children that were born because I matched them, and old people who got, stopped their loneliness. I would just love to be remembered. Somebody made a difference and made people believe in love again. I think that's the bottom line.
Amazing.
Believe in love again.
Exactly. Well, thanks for joining us today,
Thank
Sacha. So if
you.
people would like to connect with you, what are the best platforms to do so?
Sure. On Instagram, I've got a bigger following, so it's Sacha_Jack, and it's Sacha SACHA, and then Sacha Jack also on Facebook and LinkedIn, and then my website is sachajack.com, and you can email me at elite@sachajack.com, and then I can send you the information, and we can start the process. So,
Amazing. Well, thank you so
amazing.
much, and hopefully
Thank you
we can
so much.
hopefully
Very
we can
much
have you
opportunity.
back in the future to see where you
Yes.
are in your journey.
And thank you. Amazing what you're doing too, and highlighting all these talents. And yeah, it's amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Karen. Bye.